Welcome back to Guns 101. This is our welcome message for new gun owners. It's brought to you by the Self-Defense Radio Network. I'm Rob Morse. I do self-defense gun stories. My partners in this adventure include Amanda Suffolcool from Eye on the Target Radio. The guy behind the curtain there doing all the heavy lifting, that's Paul Lathrop from the Polite Society podcast. We're joined by Robyn Sandoval. She's the executive director at A Girl and a Gun. Robyn, a lot of people were frightened by this epidemic and the way governments and their neighbors reacted. You had a similar experience. Talk about becoming your child's protector.
I was strongly anti-gun for most of my life, and it wasn't until I watched the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina that I saw a modern American city become debilitated overnight, and first responders were unable to respond, and families were left on their own. And I remember sitting on the couch watching the news, and I saw a mother at the Superdome that was surrounded by death and destruction and despair, and she handed her 2 small children to a stranger getting on a bus and said, "Please take them, I'll try to find you in a few days." And my heart literally broke for her. And I turned to my husband and I said, what do I have to do so that that's never me? That I never have to rely on strangers like that I'm never that desperate, that we can hunker down as a family and stay in place for a couple weeks until things blow over. And so I started storing peanut butter and tuna fish and thought, we'll just be able to hunker down. And he said, if people are that desperate and there's that much despair, someone's going to kick in our door for our peanut butter and tuna fish. And how are we going to stop them and protect our kids? And after arguing for gun control my entire life, I suddenly had no argument. And I realized that at the end of the day, I had these 3 small children that relied on me, and I had to do what I needed to do. So that was when I agreed to look into becoming a gun owner. And it was terrifying for me. The whole process was terrifying, in finding resources and not being scared of the situation, because I really felt that inviting a firearm into my home was inviting an accident into my home. And it wasn't until I started seeing it as a defense tool, as really a tool of protection, that changed my whole mindset about it. And that's when I found Juliana Crowder, who was starting A Girl and a Gun, and I went to, I think it was her 3rd girls' night out, and I pretended to know what I was doing, but I was terrified of being there, terrified of going to a gun range, terrified of being around gun owners and not knowing what to do, and just going and learning and meeting other gun owners. It was a completely different experience than I thought it would be. Everyone was welcoming. There was so much information available. I was able to ask questions. I was able to learn how to talk to my kids about guns. It really started me on my journey, and so many people are in that situation now. My phone has been ringing off the hook because there's a lot of new gun owners who thought, I would never bring a gun in my home. It was never going to be for me. And now they're starting to feel a little scared and a little anxious about things going on with this pandemic. And they're looking for guidance, and they're in the same situation. And so I'm really grateful to be a resource to them, to help them answer their questions and find those resources and tools to help them talk to their kids and keep their guns secured, because I know what that felt like. And we're seeing a lot of that these days, and people saying, I don't know why I'm so anxious about it, but I just feel like maybe I'm going to be left on my own, and maybe it's going to be up to me to protect my family. It's kind of interesting how on the day-to-day, American society is modern and we're hustling and bustling, but whenever something causes a pause or whenever the system gets disrupted, I think people really feel that vulnerability and realize that they need to be the ones to take care of their children.
Well, I think you're right, because there's an absolutely thin veneer of civility in our society. And then when you strip that away and you add fear and you add the fact that the news is 24 hours of let's scare you and tell you the worst, and you add the fact that the police then say, well, we have to limit what we do and where we go and whether we come. So there's a belief in most of our society that you call the police and they come. And the police then said, no, we can't. We can't be everywhere. We can't be everything to everyone. And so you're going to have to be your own first responder. And that wakes up a group of people that maybe they weren't anti-gun, but they were probably gun neutral, that then they decide that they're going to need the knowledge, and they're going to go down the journey of becoming a gun owner. And we want to help them become a safe gun owner. So what advice do you have to to those people who are following in your footsteps, that are following in your path to become a safe gun owner as they make this decision. Because in the month of March, 2.5 million guns were sold in the month of March, and 65% of those were sold to formerly no gun in the house type households.
Yeah, that's really exciting. And I say welcome to all of you who are joining us and are coming into our community. And I hope that it makes you feel empowered and not scared. And I hope it gives you tools and resources to protect your family. So I think the best thing to do is to look online for resources, for articles from reputable instructors. On agirlandagun.org, we have some information on how to find a good instructor in your area, what credentials to look for, how many training hours they have, what kind of mentors they've had in their training career. That's really important. You don't want to just go on YouTube and follow advice from just anybody who has a iPhone camera. So finding reputable instructors with good credentials is important, and we can help you find those instructors. But right now, while you can get to a range in some places, ranges are essential, and gun stores are essential. So you can go and get a firearm and probably go to the range, but you're not going to be able to take a training class probably right now. So just having a gun is not going to put an invincible shield around you. So that's an important thing to know, is just having it isn't going to teach you how to use it. There's not an innate knowledge that we're all born with on how to use it. You haven't watched enough movies, because that's not how real life works. So a lot of times people think, oh, I've seen John Wick, so I know how to do it. You don't. So the important thing is that you have it safely secured in your house, and that you do some really good research on how to use it, learn the theories behind it, and nothing's going to take the place of that on the range training. So this is a physical skill, just like playing baseball is a hand-eye coordination. You can watch every baseball video out there, but until you get the bat hitting the ball and until you start doing it, you're not going to have those skills. So just know that you're not going to be John Wick on day one. But by learning the theories and learning the safe storage principles and the fundamentals of shooting, breaking it down into really simple skills, you can get a really solid foundation of knowledge. And then when you get to the range, it'll all really make sense, and you can build on those skills with a good instructor.
You know, the one thing that I had heard about you, Robyn, was that when you bought that first gun, you said to your husband, okay, that's fine, we can get a gun. We're getting one gun. Is that still the case?
Oh, a good girl never tells her age or how many guns she has, so I'm not gonna answer that. But I will say that there's different guns for different things. So you have your recreational guns, you have your competition guns, you have your defense guns, and then you have there's a lot of it's like, what is it? Potato chips.
Thank you, Robyn.
My friend John says, I have what I need, but I won't ever have what I want. So I think that's a good
That's a very good. I'm telling you, you are my hero. In the whole story is about what makes you make the decisions and how child-focused you are with safety and security, and where it has brought you in your life's journey. You are just definitely my hero. So folks, this is Robyn Sandoval, the executive director of A Girl and a Gun. Look her up. You're going to really like what you see on the Girl and a Gun website.